Dwight David Eisenhower, 34th President of the United States. David Dwight Eisenhower was born on October 14, 1890 in Denison, Texas, to David Jacob Eisenhower and Ida Elizabeth Stover. His mother changed his name to Dwight David when he was little to avoid the confusion of having two people with the name David in the same household. He was the third of six sons. His nickname was Ike, and that nickname followed him throughout his life. It was intended to be a shortened version of Eisenhower. With six sons, it was very hard for Ike's parents to afford to send them all to college. Since there was no tuition, Dwight applied to West Point and the Naval Academy. At West Point, Eisenhower was good at English and played several sports. Upon graduating West Point, he was stationed at a military base in Texas, where he met and fell in love with Mammy Geneva Dowd. They married in July of 1916. In World War I, he was ordered to France, where he served as a lieutenant colonel in the Tank Corps. After World War I, he returned to the United States and held a series of staff positions to various generals until he was promoted to brigadier general. During World War II, Eisenhower received many promotions, and in November of 1942, he was appointed Supreme Commander of Allied Forces of the North African Theater. A year later, in 1943, President Roosevelt made him the Supreme Allied Commander of Europe. In that role, he planned and carried out the D-Day invasion of southern France, which turned the tide in the war and was the beginning of the end of the war in Europe, which ended in 1945. From 1948 to 1953, Eisenhower served as president of Columbia University. President Harry S. Truman urged Eisenhower to run for president when Truman's term was up, based on the fact that Ike was a war hero, enormously popular and proven leader. He defeated Adlai Stevenson, a Democrat, in the general election by a landslide and became the last president elected who was born in the 19th century. Eisenhower served for two presidential terms and was responsible for many changes in America and worldwide. The nation's first interstate highway system, escalation of the Cold War over nuclear weapons with Russia, planned the invasion of Cuba to overthrow Fidel Castro in order to stop the spread of communism so close to the United States. In 1953, North Korean forces crossed the border into southern Korea and opened fire in an attempt to spread communism and make Korea one country under communist rule. President Eisenhower immediately sent American troops to help aid the Southern Korean army and push the North Koreans back across the border. American troops still guard the border today. Eisenhower authorized the CIA to overthrow the Prime Minister of Iran and replace him with the Shah so that the United States and Britain could gain control of the Iranian oil. His administration got the United States involved in the Civil War in French Indochina, which was the beginning of the Vietnam War. Eisenhower implemented desegregation in the military, making it possible for black and white soldiers to fight in the same unit side by side for the first time in our history. Signed the Civil Rights Act of 1957 and 1960. Ordered federal troops to protect 9 black students in their attempt to attend an all-white school in Little Rock, Arkansas. Appointed 5 Supreme Court justices in addition to 45 judges to the United States Courts of Appeal and 129 judges to the United States District Court. Admitted Alaska and Hawaii as a 49th and 50th state. Eisenhower was succeeded by John F. Kennedy. He and Mammy spent his years after the presidency on a farm in Pennsylvania near Gettysburg. Ike died on March 28, 1969 of congestive heart failure at Walter Reed Army Hospital in Washington, D.C.